Hello everyone and welcome to another scrapbook process video. Today I'm going to be making a double page spread and you can see it's going to be birthday themed from this paper that I have in front of me here. This is the brand new Let's Party collection and on the other side is a fabulous sprinkle design. This is the paper that if you're a consultant you can buy it in the bulk pack, because if you look at the papers here, the opposite side of this pattern is actually this yay one here. So to get the papers with a different design on them, I'm just going to flip through the catalogue. This is the scrapbook workshop kit and this one is the card making kit, which I absolutely love with this die here. They're happy and the birthday. I love this so much and I will be using this again and again, I am sure. But the paper difference between this paper in the card making kit and the actual collection is that the reverse sides are different. So you can see here you get 2 sheets of this pattern paper in the card making kit, and for the layout that I'm doing today you do need to use 2 sheets of it because this paper has a definite orientation to it, and I have done some cuts in Design Space and I'm going to share that file with you today. It's basically some circle cuts. You want to make sure that you have these words and the cakes and the balloons all up the right way because it's not one that you can rotate around. So there's a definite orientation to this paper, and the design that I'm basing it on is this one here. This is the layout that Close to My Heart have done. I haven't followed it exactly. You'll see the differences as I go to put this together, but instead of having full semicircles I've actually sliced them apart. So let's get on and have a little look at what I'm going to create today. So I've cut everything out in Design Space that I need. I've got a little tray here of the additional elements that will be dressing this up. I'll just put that aside for now. I'm going to use Bluebird as my base and I'm going to use the light side. So if you're familiar with Close to My Heart cardstock, you'll know that the true colour is the dark side, and then you have an option of flipping it over and you can use the light side as well. My pieces of White Daisy cardstock are cut at 11.5 by 11.5 inches, and then this piece of White Daisy has a circle cut out of the middle of it. So this is the first change that I have made from this layout here, because not all of us have large circle cutters and I want the participants at the workshop to be able to put this together easily. So instead of the photo sitting on top of the layout, it's actually going to sit behind. So I've got a photo here. It's not birthday related, but I just pulled this out quickly to show you. This is a regular 6x4 print and it's very easy to attach to the back of this with the circle already cut out. So I'll just take that away for now, and you can see that I have gone ahead and I have cut all my circles out, and I think these two patterns work really well together. What I'm going to do is just adhere this direct to my Versamat here. Okay, so I've got my dot roller on this and I'm just finding that I need to not quite adhere this on the 6-inch line. So this one goes up just a little bit, and you can do that by following the edge of the circle around when you go to adhere it. And then this one will butt up against it. And now I'm following, you can see I'm following around the edge of that circle. And then that fits perfectly, and then what I need to do is get the next piece here and line this up where the seam is for that one, and I'm putting that directly up against the edge of that previous cut circle. Now if you decide to create this layout, what you need to do is cut your pieces out, the 2 sheets of pattern paper that you need, and you need to make sure that you have the same pattern face facing up. So in my instance I put the birthday icon paper down on the mat because I could see exactly the orientation. So this paper, I cut the zip strip off of course, but this paper went on the mat with this side up so that I could see that the words were going in the correct orientation, and I fed 2 pieces of this through. This means you get 2 for 1 for this layout, so I can make another one exactly the same, and I could give it as a gift to a friend or I could use it for both of my children. But you do get 2 layouts out of one of these Design Space files, because if you don't feed 2 of of these through and you just cut one lot of circles, one of the pieces will have the orientation incorrect. And it's not too bad if you've got the icons that all rotate, but when you've got words like this that all definitely go in one direction, it can be quite noticeable. So I'm just building up these circle layers. And then I'm lining this up with the next one and just putting that up against the edge of the circle like that, so that when I adhere it, it all fits perfectly. And then this one is the last piece to put in. So exactly the same thing. I'm lining this up and then I'm going around my circle just like this. And I think this looks really cute. I haven't actually inked the edges of this. I wanted to leave them just as they are. I didn't want too much of a harsh line between each layer, but you could definitely do that, especially if the background piece is white. This background here is like a French vanilla, so it stands out enough for me on the actual white daisy. The next thing I'm going to do is adhere my title. Now this won't be included in the Design Space file because it is a systems font and I can't share that with you. So this page is going on the left and then the photo will obviously be put behind here, but you can see how that just brings the focus in to the photo and makes it a highlight of the page. And then I'm going to put several photos on this side, but what I want to do is have photo mats that match this base layer here. So I'm actually going to gut out the middle of this because I don't have my photo yet to go in here. I want easy access to that, and I can gut the middle out of this and make photo mats from it. And because there is a circle cut out from this, I'm going to do about 1.5 inches in all the way around because I want it to be fairly sturdy behind there. So I started at 1.5 inches from the top, and then I'm stopping at 10.5 inches, which is going to make it a frame that is 1.5 inches all the way around. Now I can go over slightly. No one's going to see where I've cut over this because this is going behind my white pieces. And then I just need to do the last one. And I'm going to do exactly the same for the right page as well and cut my photo mats from these gutted out pieces here. So I've gutted out the middle of that, so this is ready to have the photo put behind it. And I've also done that for the right page as well because I have made the mats 1/4 inch larger than the photo holders. So what I plan on doing when I print my photos is to print them and trim them a little bit shy of the actual measurements so that there is a white border between the photo and the coloured cardstock. I really prefer that look, and it gives a little bit of rest between the colour of a photo, and party photos and birthday photos are usually a lot more colourful, so I think a white border works really well. So you can see I'm working out where the placement of the photos is going to go, and I've also got some other things to add, and these are all on the Cricut as well. I've made a little journal box out of the pattern paper, so the actual part where I write my text is going to be applied on top, and this is bringing the pattern paper over from the left side. And I've got a couple of other elements to help do that as well, just to balance out both sides. This is obviously the main feature for the page, so the hero photo will go in here, probably blowing out the candles or something like that. But these other pieces are supplemental to it, and it just helps make everything look cohesive. Now I'm going to try and decide whether or not I want to mix it up a little bit and have some of these sprinkle patterns showing on the right side. I'm not adhering anything just yet. I haven't adhered this to the base layer either because I have some stamping I want to do, and this will be a little bit uneven with the ridge from this trimmed out inside piece here. So I'm going to do my stamping before I adhere it to the back of the page. Thinking and just a few banners to just go across here. I'm alternating the patterns on here. I think that works quite well with the little tassels on that side. I'm just going to look at the pattern on this one, and there's not a complete icon on there, so I think I'm going to do that like this, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do it up against the white edge or up against the outside edge. I think I like it up against the white edge. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to adhere all of these pieces down, and then I'll be back to do some stamping direct to page. I flipped over my Versamats ready for stamping because the reverse side of these has a spongy side to it. I love the grid pattern on the other side to help line everything up and to work on, but it's so flexible to have this spongy side on here as well, which is perfect for stamping. I'm going to be doing some second generation stamping, I think, and I'm using Bluebird and Sundance and also black. So with the stamps I'm using today, I'm actually not going to use any balloons. You could definitely add balloons to this, but I think the paper adds enough brightness to this, and I want to keep the color that I add to this part of the layout at a minimum. So what I'm going to use from the Let's Party card making workshop is just the star, and then I'm bringing in Remember This Moment. So this has a lot of little sentiments on here that are great for scrapbooking, and I've chosen a few to put onto my layout. So I'm going to stamp along this area here. I've got Remember This Moment. Just going to flip that around so that I can ink this up. And I'm glad I flipped it around on top of my scratch piece of paper because it's a little bit dirty from the last workshop and I haven't used it since. I'm just going to make sure that that is stamping up nicely. And I have loaded up all the blocks I have with the sentiments ready to go. I don't have enough of these little skinny ones. I think I might have to be a little bit indulgent and buy myself some more. But if you don't have the right size of block, I wanted to let you know that it's okay to put them on a large block, but you have to be careful when you're stamping. So I always put it at the top of the block so that I can ink up with the part that doesn't have any of the stamp off the edge of the block, so that I minimize the amount of ink I get around onto the block that might transfer to my paper. And if you're a little bit nervous about stamping direct to page, you can always stamp on a strip of paper. But there is another product in the catalogue that you may have just looked over. This stamp set that I'm using is this one here, Remember This Moment, and it coordinates perfectly with these die cut word strips. And if you make a little bit of a mess, you can always flip it over and stamp on the reverse side. But these have details on them that just add something else, little dovetails on one edge, on both edge, or the tab areas here. I actually forgot to order them, and I've done a couple of orders and I've forgotten both times. So I'm just stamping for this one direct on page, but they would be a great thing to use for your scrapbook layouts, and that's exactly what this has been designed for. Now the next one I'm going to stamp, I've actually put two of the sentiments onto one block. Just going to make sure that that stamps well. I want to make sure I don't have any ink on any of this area at all, but by putting it at the top of the block, it's easy to control rather than having it in the middle or down at the bottom, and then I tend to lean into the actual ink pad. So I'm just going to line this up and stamp and make sure that the ink transfers to the paper. And then I'm going to be a little bit brave and I'm going to do another one, but I'm going to have it coming across from the top of this piece. So it's going to go across this little edge here. So I'm just making sure that's stamping well. And I've aligned this up and down I go. So hopefully this will work. But if it doesn't work, I'll cut a strip of paper and stamp it onto that and tuck it underneath the top of the photo here. So I think that looks quite cute, having it coming out from this paper. I didn't do it on this one because there are black details and a few patterns. This one I thought the black would show up quite well because there's no other black image on there. Now I'm going to bring in the left page. And I'm not going to do terribly much stamping except something around this curve here. I've already curved my stamp on the block to fit, and it's not quite stamping right. I might not have used this one before, so I actually forgot to season it. So if you forget to season, just make sure that you stamp off first and then just stamp several times until you get a good image, and then you know you're good to go. So this is just going to go in this little corner here. And I have done all of this stamping in black, and now I'm going to put some stars around it. So I'll just move this off to the side a little bit, and I want to just have a little practice with Bluebird and also with Sundance. And I'm just going to stamp on my white paper, and I think having this in first and second generation is going to bring in enough colour for this. So I'm just going to do a couple around each area. Stronger one here. I really love second generation Bluebird. I think it's a very, very pretty colour. bring in the left page, and then I'm going to do some more. I'm going to do some around this celebrate letter, this celebrate title, mixing up where the first generation is and where the second generation is. And then I'm going to repeat that over here, and I'm going to put another second generation one just tucked in. I'm going to rotate it a little bit, just tucked in there, and I'm quite liking how that's looking, but I'm going to bring in a little bit of the yellow with the Sundance. Just need to clean off my stamp. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing and just practice on my white. I'm not sure if second generation Sundance will work. Actually, it's quite subtle. I prefer that to the first. I think that's going to work quite well. But instead of pressing down quite heavily and then going second, you can hardly see it. I'm just going to do a gentle kiss and then do the stamp, and you can see more of it. So just a gentle little kiss there and put that on there, and that stands out quite nicely. I just want to make sure that I rotate my stamp so that they're not all pointing the same way. Gentle. I wasn't quite gentle that time. So that looks pretty cute. And then replicate this again for this right side. So this is everything all finished, and I'm thinking that I might just add a couple of little dots. With the dots, there are 3 different shades of blue, and I'm just looking for my yellow and orange ones. I don't know if I've actually got any left. I might have to order some more or go digging. This is the Sundance colour, and I think it's a little bit too bright, and I've only got one little lemonade one left, so I'm not quite sure. Oh, well, maybe this is some, oh, here we go. Some that are face down. I need to turn my container over and have a little look and see if there are any more yellow ones. I can see another strip under there. So I'll just set that aside. I'm going to sprinkle those in and around where I've got my star elements here, just to add just that little bit more. I'm having trouble. Do you have this trouble when you go to put things down? You've spent quite some time doing everything, and it comes to the finishing touches. The layout for me has gone along quite easily, but when it comes to putting down these little dots, sometimes I have brain freeze, I suppose. I'm not quite sure, and I get a bit nervous about where things are going to go. I'm really happy with how this looks. Of course, you can change this design to any background color you wanted, because there is pink and red and green also in this, but I really love how this has worked out. Now, I brought this in to tell you the actual colors. There's ballerina, bluebird, candy apple, French vanilla, jade and Sundance. Don't forget to check out the link below where you'll find the Design Space file for these circle elements, and it will have the cutout piece for the left side. You'll have to trim your other side 11.5 by 11.5, and it will also have the banner pieces and this curved element as well. This shape here is one of the shapes that's available within Design Space. It's a Cricut shape, but you need Cricut access for this file. I'll have listed everything that I have used today along with links to the products, and I can't wait to play with more of this paper. I have some designs ready to go. I just have to put them together and share them with you. As always, thank you so much for watching. Happy crafting, and bye for now.